Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this morning's daily meditation with Caverly Morgan. I am here to welcome you. My name is Janice. Thank you for being here this morning. Welcome to those who are returning and welcome to those who are joining us for the first time. You are going to be led through a meditation by Caverly Morgan. She is a nonprofit leader. She founded Peace in Schools, which is a nonprofit located in Portland, Oregon, that launched the United States' first 4-credit mindfulness class. Caverly also is the creator of Presence Collective, a growing collective of meditation teachers that are offering practice to the world. Caverly is an author, and she's just a very passionate mindfulness meditation teacher and practitioner. She's been practicing for awareness practice for the last 2 decades. So she will be leading a 30-minute meditation. And following that, there's a question and answer. You can either write in your questions or you can request to come on screen and have an exchange with Caverly. And if you want to do that, you can just say something in the sidebar. Hello to everyone from all over who are joining in this morning. Before I bring Caverly on screen, as always, I just want to remind folks to consider supporting this platform, Sangha Live. There's a green button underneath the video. If you have the ability to support Sangha Live through money, that is greatly appreciated. It supports the costs of this platform, of Crowdcast. It supports the people behind the scenes working very hard to provide these daily meditations, as well as the other offerings on the Sangha Live website. And it supports our teachers. So Dana, this practice of Dana, of generosity, is deeply appreciated. And if that's not possible to give financially for you right now, that's okay. That's why we're a community supporting each other. So this is accessible to all. So I'm going to bring Caverly on screen and hand it over to her this morning. Hello.
Hi, Janice. Thank you so much,
Yes,
as always.
Thank you.
Thank you. Friends, hello. Thank you so much, as always. Incredibly glad to be here, as always. Thanks for those of you who are acknowledging it's good to be back as well. Thank you, Jake, for tending to the technical details of switching us to this platform, or this section of the platform. You can tell how vast my technical know-how of these back-end things are. Okay, it sounds like, Marina, you have no sound and no view. Others, I assume, oh, okay, John and Nancy can't hear me. All right, and it sounds like, Spencer, you're saying there's a poor connection and the picture is fuzzy. So thanks for hanging with us here as we sort this out. Okay, Sangha Live is saying the sound is good. Okay, others are okay with, okay, John and Nancy. Okay, this is so sweet. I feel like this is as close to being together at a little gathering as we're gonna get, all of us just chatting in this way. So, okay, great. If we're good in Cornwall, we must be good. A special acknowledgement, Julian, I was very glad to see that you're here from Paris today, because I did sit with your ending question from yesterday about joy. Yes, Ingrid, refreshing helps. Janice and I were just saying that's just always something we rely on, is let's just start it all over and see what happens. There's a great Zen metaphor in that. Start over and see what happens. So yes, Julian, yesterday when the session ended, you had asked a question that I sat with, and I got my fingertips, I felt guided to a particular poem that I'll share at the beginning of today's meditation. Lovely. All right, friends, thank you. Thanks for saying hello. Let's begin by taking 3 of the longest and deepest inhalations and exhalations you've taken yet today. And as you settle into your posture, notice how the body's doing in this morning. Look to see whether you'd like to make any adjustments or whether you'd like to roll your shoulders or stretch in any way before we move into stillness for half an hour. This practice of stillness, so valuable. Why? Let's explore that a bit in this meditation. Again, welcome. One value of setting the intention to be still is that as we practice being still, simply through that intention, we're changing a habitual pattern that we have with the conditioned mind, a habitual relationship that's in place with the conditioned mind. So, for example, most of us are habituated. If we feel a particular sensation, a little itch somewhere, we're just habituated to just, without even thinking about it, scratch it. That's actually a great metaphor for so often conditioned thoughts pass through without thinking about it in the habituated way. We simply react to them as if they're true. Next thing you know, behaviors are manifesting that are in reaction to these conditioned unquestioned thoughts, beliefs, assumptions. So we're breaking that habit. Something arises and we simply react. I speak a lot about how we identify with the conditioned mind. Just to stay in keeping with that language, though this is not how I usually talk about it, we could say, rather than identifying with the conditioned mind, we're identifying with presence and stillness. So these thoughts, these conditioned reactions are seen, they're revealed to be simply forms arising in this stillness and in this presence. And now for our poem on joy and sorrow by Khalil Gibran. Then a woman said, speak to us of joy and sorrow. And he answered, your joy is your sorrow unmasked. And the self-same well from which your laughter rises was oftentimes filled with your tears. And how else can it be? The deeper that sorrow carves into your being, the more joy you can contain. Is not the cup that holds your wine the very cup that was burned in the potter's oven? And is not the lute that soothes your spirit the very wood that was hollowed with your knives? When you are joyous, look deep into your heart, and you shall find it is only that which has given you sorrow that is giving you joy. When you are sorrowful, look again in your heart, and you shall see that in truth you are weeping for that which has been your delight. Some of you say joy is greater than sorrow, and others say no, sorrow is the greater. But I say unto you, they are inseparable. Together they come, and when one sits alone with you at your board. Remember that the other is asleep upon your bed. Verily, you are suspended like scales between your sorrow and your joy. Only when you are empty are you at a standstill and balanced. Only when the treasure keeper lifts you to weigh his gold and silver, needs must your joy or your sorrow rise or fall. So many of us have been filled with sorrow during this time, with the grief of loss, the impacts of this global pandemic. And so many of us are experiencing the joy of the earth quieting, as so many are in quarantine. So friends, for now, seek not after one or the other. Just let joy and sorrow arise freely in this emptiness. Allow the heart, like an unconditionally loving mother, to embrace joy and sorrow with the same openness and care. Rather than attaching to any one single experience. Simply allow for whatever's arising in this emptiness. And then notice the joy that is the byproduct of that, the happiness that is the byproduct of knowing ourselves as that unconditionally welcoming, non-judgmental, loving presence. Find the joy that is stable. It's a fragile joy if it's attached to objects, particular experiences, circumstances. Find the quiet joy of freedom. The quiet joy of the peace of your own being. Know the quiet joy of letting go. Of being fully yourself. Not the small self, not identification with the limitation of this body-mind. But the fullness of being. The emptiness of presence. Rest in that. Know yourself as that. Friends, thank you for your presence. If you are able to support this platform, please do. The donate button is right below me. If you're in a financial position at the moment in which you can offer dana, it's greatly valued and appreciated. So, our poem. Julian, thank you for your gasho. Again, gasho in the Zen tradition, at any rate, is my heart and your heart are one. Thank you, Evelyn, for your comment. I'm glad that was helpful. Thank you, Dudley. Okay, great. Someone would like to come on screen and talk about this profound meditation session. I would absolutely love that. For some reason, it's not showing me who said that. Usually it does. But if you'd like to come on the screen, do write that in the sidebar so Janice can set you up with that. If this is your first time joining us, just know that I love to have exchanges with folks on screen when you're willing. It could also just be audio if that works for you. It just makes it a little bit less of a one-way meditation. So if that's an option for you, please do come on. Okay. Oh, Spencer, you'd like to come on. Great. And then Peter, yeah, thanks for sharing. Thank you. Thanks for your promptings. It's so important to me that I'm in relationship with who's showing up for these sessions. So again, I'm sorry, I'm not seeing the name with this. Maybe after this session, Janice, you could help us see how to adjust that. I like to know who's writing in and call you by your name. So thank you for a wonderful meditation. I have difficulty embracing the sorrows as easily as I do the joys. Yes, again, I'm sorry, I can't see. Oops. I just left there. Okay. Okay, now it's showing, if I hover above it, that it's Kiki. Hi, Kiki. And I clicked on it and left the screen for a minute, but I'm back. And yes, I imagine that if we asked for a raise of hands for how many people have more difficulty embracing the sorrows as easily as the joys, I imagine many people would say that is relatable. What arises for me with that question, Kiki, is that the answer okay, actually, maybe I was coming back on screen. Thanks, friends, for your patience as we sort out some of the technical things. I think that I just had to accept coming back on. So I'm guessing you all might have lost me for a moment, but I'm here. So yeah, no need for apology. Thank you, Sangha, for your support. So if someone would like to come on screen, great. Appreciate that. And yes, Kiki, what arose for me with that in reading your question was the value of knowing ourselves as the presence that isn't choosing, isn't weighing that scale of joy over sorrow. Of course, the personality, if you will have preferences. Of course, I might prefer chocolate cake after dinner over more broccoli. That's not bad or wrong. What we're speaking about today is knowing ourselves as that which is okay with even those preferences. All of that's arising in this same emptiness, in this same openness. So, Kiki, you might ask, can I embrace the part of me that's having difficulty embracing sorrows? Can that too be not only acceptable but welcomed? Because when we recognize ourselves as that I, our entire relationship with existence shifts. Because we're not looking through the small eye of the ego. We're not limited to that lens. Spencer and Janice, I see that you all are working out some technical details. Thank you. I do want to just acknowledge for all that Crowdcast, I think, is having difficulty with how many people are using it now. So, Kiki, I hope that was useful. Thank you. Okay, Sandy, good morning. When yearning for security, quote, where can I relate to a steadying force? Sandy, your question is wonderful. Oh, good, Kiki. I'm glad that spoke to you. Sandy, I appreciate that you wrote this in. Notice how if I identify with this is my little image for identifying with a self that is separate from life. If I'm identified with this separate self, then I'm trying to become steady, but certain winds might blow me over. I'm efforting to be steady. When I recognize myself, I'm going to grab the large bowl near me. When I recognize myself, now pretend this has no borders, no edges or boundaries. When I recognize myself as open presence, then even this aspect of the personality, or even this movement of the ego, trying to do something is simply arising in this openness. It's simply a modulation of consciousness, if you will, within this vast consciousness, within this openness. So rather than asking, where can I relate to a steadying force? That question comes from this. Know yourself, remember yourself as this open awareness. So how can we know ourselves as this open awareness. You could ask in this very moment, am I aware now? So Sandy, I invite you to walk through this with me. Am I aware now? Are you aware of the sound of my voice? Are you aware of your own breath? Is not that awareness the most intimate primary experience of being that you have? Rest into that. Following the poem I spoke to, this experience of emptiness. Rest as that. Know yourself as that. And from awareness, notice all that arises. The yearning for security, for example. Only this illusion of a self that is separate from life yearns to be stable, to attempt to control. We're allowing that to be freed in practice. See this as a veil of sorts. We're releasing the veil so that we can know ourselves as that which is inherently stable. Sandy, I hope that spoke to your question. Thank you. Okay, Yevlin, you'd like to come on screen? Wonderful. And while I am waiting, oh, Julian, you're okay to come on screen too. Great. No problem if you don't have a precise question. We can just have an exchange. Yeah. All right, so Spencer, I see you're still working this out. So Yevlin, I'm just waiting for you to be able to come on screen. Again, my apologies if there's something happening on the Crowdcast, and there might be, given that they, I think, are just overwhelmed. Okay.
Yes.
You are. Hello, Yevlin.
How are you? I hope you can hear me.
Oh, this is great. I'm going to turn up my volume just a bit. Wonderful to see you.
Wonderful. Well, I really am very happy to share about that because I think I was always asking myself, how can joy be linked with sorrow and sorrow be linked with joy? And maybe I had understood it mentally, but there was something. And during the meditation today, it just became like very clear. Like I felt it. Joy, it was like another type of understanding coming from, I don't know what, a type of opening of consciousness, I don't know what, but I really felt how much all these words had been like reading and, well, okay, and it became very clear. And also, well, quickly, last Friday, I think I asked you about the waves and the ocean and how you can go in contact with emotion or not, which was responding to other meditations I had done. And I tried to be with that this weekend. And it helped a lot because you told me at a moment, just see if you're not like, when you go in the emotion, if you're not at a certain point identifying, being identified with it. And well, yes, the answer is yes. When I said sometime I try, but just don't, I was in fact really in an identification with the wave. And I must say that, okay, if I can go in the wave without identifying, it will be okay. But I must say, being in connection with this presence, as you said, I think it's just like extremely relaxing, although I'm not looking for relaxation at all. But it's like resting in like an open space, like where everything can be. And I must say, I felt it so strongly today. I have no words to say, wow. Now I know I shouldn't look for the experience again, but simply practice with this opening. Wow, thank you.
Thank you so much for just articulating that so beautifully. And, you know, I would encourage that there's nothing wrong with looking for it again. We want to watch for any attempt to try to control our experience so that we can repeat something we've had. And then we measure our present moment experience against something that feels like it happened in the past. But what is absolutely repeatable is the knowing of our own being. So it can be helpful to say, and yes, I will repeat that knowing, because that is the nature of my practice. We're actually repeating the recognition of that knowing again and again. In this moment, may I know myself as unconditionally loving, welcoming presence. And in this moment.
Thank you so much, because I feel, wow, very big opening today. It's like a very big space which has been open, and I don't know even how to put words on that. But it's wow.
Yeah, and I just love that that space is the space of you. Again, watch for any way that the conditioned mind tries to come in and say, well, you could never have that again. And that was just some special experience because it was whatever day in April and the sun was like this and the tulips were like this. You know, watch for any part of the conditioned system that tries to make it special, quote unquote. This is the most ordinary experience, the most primary and intimate experience of our own being that you're describing. And it feels special because we're often identified with the veil, with that which veils being. Thoughts of worry, agitation, planning, grabbing onto objects, trying to stabilize, judging ourselves if we feel like we're not stable, beating ourselves up to get ourselves to be stable again. All of that madness is what we're often busy doing rather than being. It doesn't mean that that's bad or wrong. Remember, did this image speak to you, Evelyn? This kind of, all that's arising in this. So there's no problem with it. We don't have to get rid of the ego. It's simply a form. It's arising in this emptiness. Again, what's not accurate about this is that my bowl has these edges. But it's just a way to point to open space.
Yes, the image of a gong, the bell, exactly described what I felt. I think I'm going to practice like that, yes, to just feel so well. I heard, yes, this presence is you, and just link with it.
Yes.
But it's goes beyond words.
It does, doesn't it? And that's the place to rest.
Yes, fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming back again on screen. Lovely to see you again, Yevlin. Friends, we're at our time. It does move so quickly. Spencer, please do email info@Sangha Live. I'm not sure what the issue has been, but I trust that it will get sorted out. But I would encourage you to sort it out outside these calls, because I'd love to see you again. And Spencer, thanks for showing up to our Wednesday night Sangha as well, which, as you know, is a bit more intimate. It tends to be smaller. It's through Zoom. It's very easy to see people. So if you're here with me for the first time today, know that you can find details about our Wednesday night gatherings at caverlymorgan.org, and that's been happening through Zoom. It's usually in person here in Portland, Oregon. So Charlie, I want to acknowledge that I did not get to your question comment today, and in just skimming it, I'd like to bring that into tomorrow, given we're already over. And I would like to invite you, Charlie. Thanks for your willingness to come on screen. Let's have an exchange tomorrow. Again, I want to thank you all so much for showing up. And if you can donate to support this platform, please do. Again, it exists only because of your generosity. And yes, thank you for your presence, your being. Until tomorrow.